This is ridiculous, Vemrin. Let's just kill him and hide the body.
We're not on Balmorra anymore, Tulgus. There are rules, traditions. We'll leave the shortcuts to Overseer Tremel and his last pathetic hope here.
This is the full story of the Sith warrior in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. We arrive in the Sith homeworld of Korriban via transport. Touching down and departing the ship, we're greeted by the unassuming overseer of the Sith Academy.
At last you've arrived. Good, good. There is much to do and every moment is critical.
Nodding to the soldiers in a brief mark of courtesy for the ride, we follow in step with Tremel, who continues.
I'm Overseer Tremel. For decades I've administered the trials that prove who is and is not worthy to join the Sith Order. The trials are a chance to weed out the weak. Those who face them either survive and become Sith, or die.
As with all SWTOR dialogue, we have 3 distinct responses which I shall make pains to cover where possible, such as...
It won't disappoint you.
Good. I risked a lot to make this happen.
Or...
I think I'll take the first option.
I didn't bring you here for levity.
And finally...
Mark my words, I am destined to be Sith.
It wasn't destiny that brought you here. Yes, you are here and ahead of schedule because of me. I expect you to obey. You face your trials, you serve me, and I will make you the most powerful acolyte here.
Sounds like a plan.
The trials themselves are difficult enough, but they are hardly the greatest threat you face.
Why am I skeptical?
Have a critical edge, but recognize who is on your side.
You had better be able to deliver that, Tremel.
Leave your doubt at the door. There's no room for it in here, and no time to waste. The trials themselves are difficult enough, but they are hardly the greatest threat you face. There's an acolyte here named Vemrin. He's your enemy, and he will try to kill you. We must prepare you.
How is it I already have an enemy?
All you need to know is that you are a threat to him, and he to you. We'll make sure you can stand up to that threat.
Maybe he can be reasoned with.
There are no amends to make with a creature like Vemrin. We must strengthen your bond with the Force to match his.
Let him try. I'll destroy him.
With my guidance, someday you'll destroy all your enemies. That practice sword you've arrived with is insufficient. The blade of lesser acolytes. You need a dominating weapon. In the tomb of Ajunta Paul, there's an old armory. A strong Sith warblade awaits you there. The tomb is thick with claw slugs. Deadly savage creatures. Be speedy but careful. They've been the end of many an acolyte.
Then I'll have something in common with the beasts. If they lack the instinct to avoid me, I'll feed them their heads. Just tell me where to go.
Once you acquire the warblade, I suggest you spend some time in the tomb bloodying it. Then come to me in my chambers in the academy.
After our conversation has concluded and Tremel has taken his leave, we look back through the energy field blocking our exit, signifying our past life. Our only path now is forward. No half measures here. Our codex, we find, has been automatically updated with our task reading. Overseer Tremel has brought us to the Sith Academy on Korriban to begin our trials ahead of schedule. Our first mission is to acquire a blade more appropriate to our destiny, an ancient Sith warblade from the armory of the tomb of Ajunta Paul. Exiting the small docking port via its winding corridors, we emerge to an awe-inspiring view of the Sith Academy that gives even us pause. Our codex then updates reading. Since the dawn of the Empire, the Valley of the Dark Lords has been the final resting place for the galaxy's most legendary Sith. Carved into the rock walls and anointed with the blood of 1,000 slaves, the Valley's tombs are monuments to the influence and strength of their interred lords. A tomb's construction can require decades. Construction beginning long before death claims its eventual occupant and ending long after. With the defeat of the Sith Empire in the Great Hyperspace War, Korriban was abandoned with only ancient statues to guard over the valley. Grave robbers and cave-ins wore down the tomb for 1,000 years until the Sith returned and restored Korriban to its former glory. Excavations into the rediscovered tombs are now underway, and already Sith wonder, who will be the next great warrior to lie among the legends in the Valley of the Dark Lords? Internally, we promise, we are among future peers. However, we cannot even move to enter said academy without completing our task at hand. Heading down the nearby ramp and past a medical outpost, we make our way to the temple's entrance and find nearby loitering claw slug foragers. Post killing 10 of the disgusting critters, we find the tomb's western entrance has been breached, with the great steel meshing pushed in by what must have been a remarkable force, a codex that apprises us of the tomb's history reading. Before the Empire, before the Sith Order, Ajunta Paul was the very first Dark Lord. Once a Jedi Master, Ajunta Paul learned how to create and shape life itself through the Force, an art the Jedi feared and sought to end. In an act of defiance, he turned his newfound power against the Jedi Order and rebelled. In the end, the Jedi banished Ajunta Paul and his followers, exiling them to the Outer Rim, where the exiles had found Korriban and a force-wielding native species called the Sith. Ajunta Paul impressed the Sith with his power and technology, and the Sith soon revered the exiles as gods. From his seat of power on Korriban, Ajunta Paul was named Dark Lord of the Sith and founded the Sith Empire. Upon his death, Ajunta Paul's body was entombed in the Valley of the Dark Lords. After millennia of sandstorms, cave-ins, and warfare, the tomb still stands as a testament to his lasting influence. At the bottom of the ramp, making our way into the tomb's bowels, we see a soldier remaining steadfast against the tide of slugs, barely standing defiant behind a makeshift barricade. Upon closer inspection, we see his comrades in various states of decay. Approaching him, he queries,
"Excuse me, Acolyte. Sergeant Corman, 5th Infantry Company, Korriban Regiment. Can I talk to you?"
I'm busy right now.
Understood, sir. But I require assistance from someone who can do things I can't.
Speak freely, Sergeant.
Thank you.
Make it quick, Sergeant.
Of course. You're the Acolyte Overseer Tremel had brought in special, right? Heading down in the tomb to show what you're made of?
Yes, that's correct. And to find myself a Sith Warblade, apparently. Mind your business, soldier.
Apologies if I offended. Here's your chance to not only show off for the Overseers, but start building ties to the Imperial military as well. I'm here commanding a hard-target mission to exterminate claw slugs in this tomb. They're horrific things. Mouths bigger than your head. I've lost 3 squads of good men fighting them. They come in packs. They'll swallow a man whole.
If you're trying to talk me out of this, it won't work.
Understood. I was hoping you could assist my operation while you're in there.
Your men obviously need better training, Sergeant.
Those men were battle-hardened. The enemy just has more numbers.
Death is a way of life.
Yes, sir, but the mission is in danger of failing. Sending more men isn't the answer. The damn claw slugs breed so fast there's no way to wipe them out conventionally. So we started targeting their egg chambers. They went insane. We managed to get explosives to all of the egg chambers, but the claw slugs were all over us before we could detonate.
Are you sure this plan of yours will actually work?
I don't know. I have to hope so. Without breeding chambers, the claw slugs lose the numbers. Then we can wipe them out.
I remain unmoved.
I know, but we can't do it without you. You have a tactical advantage my soldiers don't. The Force. That makes you worth a dozen normal men.
Perhaps I could be of assistance.
Don't underestimate those claw slugs, sir. They're smarter than they look.
Northwest, we see the slugs milling about the larger burrowers, no doubt responsible for much of the destruction wrought on the tomb's architecture. And we proceed to stamp out the gelatinous gastropods. To the north, we begin encountering the promised egg chambers. Their spawn littering the tomb, and the slugs are more preoccupied with incubating their young than concerned with another errant Sith. And so we head into the stony belly of this ancient undercroft. Surveying the crypt, we see dozens of the eggs hatched across the musty chamber, and fresh broodlings making sense of their new existence. However, we're interrupted as the Academy's eager students spill into the tomb to prove their mettle, leaping over to bash the broodling, not before activating the detonator and leaving the poor students and wretched hive to its fate. Hearing a satisfying screech, we ascend the stairs and return to the sergeant for our promised reward.
I heard the explosions when you set off the charges. Outstanding, sir.
Equipping our newest protective gloves, gratefully received. So we needn't feel the slime of the tomb betwixt our digits, we proceed south through the large main hall until we happen across a datapad floating in a pile of what appears to be a green bile-like substance, or perhaps excrement, as a whole skeleton looks like it's been twanged out of a gargantuan slug's anus. With our protective gloves, we gingerly scoop up said datapad that reads, Imperial Edict 936. Mercenaries have taken advantage of the claw slug infestation in the tomb of a Junta Paul, seizing valuable artifacts from its depths. A situation wholly unacceptable. You are authorized to use deadly force to send these mercenaries a message that further desecration will not be tolerated. The task is dangerous, and hazard pay has been authorized. See me at the medical center upon completing your mission for your compensation. Sergeant Raquel. Indeed, just to the south, we find a myriad of mercs attempting to steal whatever isn't nailed down. Now that we have a promised reward from Rickle, and the Tomb Raiders happen to be in our path, we gleefully test our abilities on the mistaken looters. It's only when we arrive at the tomb's most southern room, having decimated a score of robbers, do we find a peculiar arm untouched by the thieves. Heading deeper into the abandoned wing, we see a morbid decoration, being a bounty of skulls meticulously placed in a square stone container as part decorative piece, part warning. Following the trail of corpses littered about, we descend some final stairs and find a strange tomb. This time, without bodies, but instead deactivated droids with multiple eyes and dome-shaped heads. However, our eyes fall back onto our prize, the blade Tremel had promised, and so we pluck it from the weapon rack.
What?
And see we've indeed acquired the blade of the ancients, feeling the power of the weapon in our hands as it thrums to life, with dangerous energy pulsing up its shaft. Not quite a lightsaber, but it shall do for now. As we move to leave the tomb with prize in hand, we learn our disturbance has not gone unnoticed, as all of the mechanical guardians let out a bellow in response to our trespassing. Some holding blades of their own. Others utilize deadly blaster fire, no doubt to add to the danger of our test. After defeating a total of 8 droids, we ascend the stairs and are confronted by a final 2 in ambush. Leaving the robots in disrepair, we pause a moment to channel our hatred, focusing on Tremel's treachery and the reward we deserve for besting his blasted droids. The pile of skulls then begins to make sense as we realize probably only a droid would be this meticulous to place the fallen trespassers' skulls on a mock display as part of their programming before returning to faux hibernation. Looking to leave the tomb, we find many of the mercenaries dead, despite signs of their forced entry, And heading down a set of stairs in the southernmost chamber reveals other potential students have wiped out the mercs while we were busy obtaining our blade, and they've begun to plunder the artifacts for their own greedy purposes. And so we hurriedly gather up a trio of artifacts required as proof for Rickle before racing up the stairs and making a break for the outside. Tailing the competitive Sith, we dispatch a single looter brute in our path, allowing the students to contend with the other pathetic mercs. And as we exit via the Northern Metal Gangwalk, we find a final datapad explaining the presence of the Tomb Raiders, which reads, "The ancient Sith tombs of Korriban have long been a target of raiders and treasure seekers with dreams of valuable plunder. While many are the minions and hirelings of Sith lords hoping to lay their hands on powerful relics, others are daring fortune hunters who come from off-world and risk conflict with the Sith. Individual pirates and rogues occasionally arrive stowed away on ships, but a more organized group, led by an eccentric underworld figure, has infiltrated shipments of slaves sent to the Red Planet. Once on the surface, the quote-unquote slaves sneak into the tombs. Few ever leave Korriban, but those who survive are paid handsomely for their trouble. Heading to the end of the metal platform, we see the last of the mercs freshly felled by fellow Sith, and peering down into the tomb where we had just met Sergeant Corman, we don't envy his almost untenable position against the worms, and wonder if the Sith Lords truly wish to clear said temple, or simply leave the tomb infested on purpose as a trial to throw bodies at. Ascending the final stairs, we emerge from the musty tomb, and stare up at Korriban's colossal Sith Academy. Its statues carved into the solid rock show the promised hardships to come, and the ancient writings and dark side aura promises power to those strong enough to take it in their grasp. Our codex then updates, reading, "Rising above the Valley of the Dark Lords, the Sith Academy is a monument to the power of the dark side and the might of the Sith Empire. Would-be students throughout Imperial space compete for the privilege of studying within the Academy halls, but only those strong in the Force are selected, and most of those perish in the struggle to become Sith. Beyond the training rooms lay many secrets that remained hidden to all, but the most powerful Sith Lords. Higher levels contain chambers for members of the Dark Council, where few living creatures are permitted. Whispered rumors suggesting the Emperor himself has a sanctum within the Academy, but no one has seen the Emperor on Korriban for many years. To the south, we find a promised red-clad sergeant of the Sith Army, Rickle, who promised reward for decimating the tomb looters. Approaching him, we apprise.
I have taken care of your problem with the looters in the tomb.
Ah, then I'll assume my men are dead. Even so, you have done us a great service. Their loss is your gain, I suppose.
I have completed my task then. This business is over with, right?
Yes, sir.
I am most thankful.
Concluding our conversation, we're rewarded with 50 credits, a med pack, and matching battler leggings to our gloves. We divine it must be a surplus of military wear, but nonetheless helpful in our upcoming trials. Wasting no more time, we jog up the Academy stone ramp and see a colder, grey and military aesthetic in the temple's interior. Under the watchful gaze of the Sith statue's faceless visage stands two assistant overseers, and we approach the red-faced Sith, who dismisses.
I can be no help to you.
Arms crossed, she continues her implacable gaze into her homeworld's valley. We then make our way around to the winding entrance to be met with two dark honor guards that dutifully kneel at our arrival. Inside the Academy's high-ceilinged main hall that leads to all other exits, we speak to the nearby Lord Aberon, who meditates in front of a glowing monolith. The Sith doesn't look up, yet easily divines.
You are little more than a child, but you will grow quickly on this world. Be gone for now.
At least he knows true power when he sees it. Jogging through the serpentine southern wing to Tremel's office, we're confronted by two initiates loitering by his entrance, one of which a promised enemy, Vemrin.
Hey there, Acolyte. Hold on a moment. Let me get a look at you. So you're Overseer Tremel's secret weapon. Impressive, to be sure. Afraid the old man waited too long to make his move, though. I'm Vemrin, and unlike you, I've fought and bled for everything I have. I demand respect.
Are you saying I haven't earned my way?
Please, everyone knows what Tremel is doing.
This is a big place, Vemrin. There's more than enough room here for both of us.
I'm glad to hear you say that. There's plenty of room for you, behind me.
You don't want to make me angry, Vemrin.
Believe it or not, I'm trying to keep you from getting killed. If Overseer Tremel had made his move a year ago when I first arrived, you might have had a chance. But now, too little, too late.
This is ridiculous, Vemrin. Let's just kill him and hide the body.
We're not on Balmorra anymore, Tulgus. There are rules, traditions. We'll leave the shortcuts to Overseer Tremel and his last pathetic hope here.
My honor is not to be questioned.
We'll see about that.
You're not very good with people, are you?
You're not funny, just pathetic, and you've been warned.
I'm going to take what's yours, and then I'm going to kill you.
You have no idea the enemy you're making. Coming, Dolgus?
Be right there, Vemrin. Listen to me, you useless priss. Acolytes aren't allowed to murder each other. But accidents happen. It isn't murder without witnesses. No more warnings. Vemrin's the alpha monster here. You go after Vemrin, you die.
Now that the vermin have come out to show their small, snapping teeth, we imagine all the ways we shall deal with Vemrin and his flunky as we enter the Overseer's office. Inside, we see Tremel awaiting us and is mid-conversation with a female junior Sith. We pause a moment to take in his sparsely decorated office and see a mix of military paraphernalia and artifacts of no doubt sizable worth. It's only in the southeastern wall do we spy a torture rack and no Tremel, for his quaint exterior belies a hidden power, and presumably tempered to match it, which we instinctively divine we shouldn't tempt lightly. Interrupting Tremel, he questions.
Good. You've returned. You seem to be in one piece. Tell me, how do you like your new blade?
I suppose this is sufficient. Take a look. I've already blooded it. I hope it's thirsty. I plan on drowning it.
What are you doing, Father? I only just got my warblade and I've been here 6 months.
I have my reasons, Escala, and you will not breathe a word of this to anyone. Do you hear?
Yes. Yes, Father.
Acolyte, this is Escala, my daughter. She's one of the advanced students here, on her way to becoming Sith, if she minds herself.
I'll keep quiet about your new charge, Father, but I won't be there if whatever you're planning blows up in your face.
Don't mind her, she's just sore that I'm keeping secrets. She growls, but she's loyal. Now, I thought I heard Vemrin's voice in the adjacent chamber before you arrived. Did he make his move so soon?
He just introduced himself to me. It was nothing I couldn't handle.
If he didn't attack, he must not fully comprehend the threat you represent. Good, good.
Yeah, I hate him already. I look forward to ending his miserable existence.
If things go well, you will have that satisfaction someday. Still, I'd hoped we'd have more time. Vemrin's not the type to sniff around for too long before trying to take a bite. In a drive for sheer numbers, the criteria for Academy admittance has been relaxed. Now anyone with Force sensitivity is allowed entrance. Vemrin is mixed blood, the invisible rot eating at the foundation of the Empire. He must not be allowed to advance.
So please, just let me stop him.
Unfortunately, Vemrin's caught the eye of Darth Barris, one of the most influential Sith Lords. He's being groomed to be Barris's new apprentice.
So, you're an elitist snob?
You say that like it's a bad thing. It's the Sith way. Only the best, only the most pure, should be good enough.
So stop him yourself.
As Darth Barris's apprentice, the power at Vemlin's fingertips will be considerable. He could change the Sith for the worse.